Check, check, check. Yes, Smalls. You in me? Alright. Nah, not yet. Let me get my people. All right, welcome back, Facebook viewers, to the United National Congress live stream of the Monday Night Forum from the St. Augustine Constituency. We heard a little earlier from the Deputy Political Leader, Senator Khadija Amin, as to what to expect tonight. My usual, almost like co-host in these Monday Night Forums is NATEX officer, not the education officer. You are now the Northeast coordinator, Brian Big. This constituency is your area?
Yes, it is in my region.
All right, welcome to UNC live stream.
Thank you, Archie. I want to say again that you have been doing a very good job, yourself, your crew, but it would be remiss of me if I don't mention our social media soldiers like Alan Karim, Marissa Ram-Logan, these guys who are carrying on the fight for us within the ambit of the technological highway.
Thank you very much. Praise from you is good. But I was very happy when the Prime Minister had credited the UNC's victory in Barataria to the UNC's powerful social media army.
Well, I will say this, is that we know what we are doing. We know what it takes to win. We know, led by Kamala Prasad Bisesa, that we can get it done.
So tell me something, in your internal elections in the UNC, what was the number of people voting in your internal elections?
Let's put it this way. More than 15,000 people voted for me.
Wow. More than people in the PNM that voted for Rowley?
Yeah, the political leader, 20,000 people voted for the leader. So, that is in no way. The PNM's internal election, what was that? A village council election does have more people than that.
Yes, but didn't he say that the People's National Movement is more organized than the government?
Well, you know, it is sad that when a sitting prime minister could say his government is not organized. My God, it shows that this man doesn't really know what he's doing. And I want to echo the sentiments of my leader. Call an election now.
Right. Well, you know, tonight we're going to be hearing a lot about the budget and budget presentation and all the implications of the budget. But I can't help but try to get some other topics in before the Monday night meeting starts. And one of the comments that the Prime Minister would have said is that agriculture may not be important to Trinidad. What say your party?
Well, the United National Congress has always been a party that has been very much within the agriculture sector. I myself would have been a part of that within the seafood industry, where seafood farmers had a place.
But I don't hear about that company anymore.
No, they closed it down.
Why are you making joke?
Well, this is a shutdown government, you know. And to show you with agriculture, where this government has not really done anything. The incentive programs, no increase in that, or even any new incentive programs for farmers. Whereas when Devant Maharaj, or even to the extension of Vasant Bharat, but Devant Maharaj, when he was Minister of Food Production, the incentive programs went up. When I was in the SIDC, the Seafood Industry Development Company, we put more incentive programs for seafood farmers. I can recall of a farmer in Mayaro who was able to say at the age of 22, with these incentive programs, we were able to via the form of financial bursaries, he was able to get his own vehicle. He was able to bring more crops. Now, when I say crops, I don't mean in the means of vegetative. He was able to create 5 new ponds of tilapia.
And that's just SIDC. I understand. Well, I myself had my little stint at NAMDEFCO, and I remember bringing along 5 packaging plants. What's the situation with those packaging plants?
From what I've been hearing, I'm not hearing anything at all. But look, let's even go further. The Sugarcane Feed Center, which was there to ensure that our farmers, in the form of our cattle rearers, that they would be able to get the feeds properly.
Hold on a second. You're trying to tell me the Sugarcane Feed Center is in a closed down mode?
The Sugarcane Feed Center, if it's not closed down, it's either dead. Because they have not done anything. They have sent home workers as well from these places.
So, in a situation where employment is a serious problem, how could you be closing down all these agricultural stations?
Well, because again, you have a government who has no plan, a government who does not care. Agriculture is about feeding our people. As you know, look what they want to do with the St. Augustine nurseries, which you may hear tonight, is that you want to put housing in where it's meant for farming. So are people going to eat concrete?
Well, I don't know. Closed down. Everything is closed down.
But actually, let me...
I was seeing a little skit, a little funny skit. Maybe they might have closed down Balize House.
Well, Balize House, what was that? That's a relic I see on the road there. That's a relic.
So tell me something. You know, sometimes people close down institutions, they close down companies for some reason or the other. But what do you do with all these people that were employed there?
Well, I can tell you that no employee or former employee of the SIDC has been re-employed. When they said to the employees that the ministry would have re-employed them.
So what really happened with that company, that SIDC?
They closed it down. And the same can be seen. We are seeing what's happening with Petrotrin. We are seeing what is happening with all these other places. I understand that judgment has been put in their favor. I won't comment more on that. I believe the political leader may talk on it. I don't want to comment more. But I will tell you, the Minister of Agriculture when he came and he chastised farmers for the type of vehicles they are driving. I wish I inform him that the same vehicles that they are using, the 4x4s he chastised them with, are the same 4x4s that they use to carry about their crops, to carry out their trade.
I see man who want the pay increase.
That's the man who want a pay increase. It's an insult, and he's a part of a cabinet that agreed to send home workers. And in addition to that, he wants our farmers to go back to bullcat. He wants farmers to go back to pulling things with their hand. Is that what we are going back to?
Very, very sad state of affairs. Look, I want viewers, take a look at this man here. This is another NATEX member, Don.
Your friend from China.
Right. Say hello to your Facebook viewers.
Facebook viewers. Facebook viewers. You are the key in the operations of this campaign. With people like my brother here. I call him Mr. Wong. And my brother here, regional coordinator. We will do the work on the ground to bring victory for this party.
Right. You are the elections officer. We are just talking about the PNM internal elections that they had recently. The political leader of that party said they are very well organized, yet they could not cross. What was the volume of votes in that internal elections?
It was too little to remember.
They couldn't reach 10,000. They couldn't.
I remember on the night of the elections, it was something like 300, 400, and then it went to 2,000, and then about 5 days later, here it was 10,000.
9,742.
And they say in their party well organized. I understand in your internal elections, you had over 20,000 votes.
Our internal elections, because although you were not a candidate, you contributed to that victory. But let me make something abundantly clear to your Facebook listeners and viewers. This reminds me of 2010 when we started to build momentum. As a matter of fact, the momentum is with the UNC right now. We just have to hold the fort. PNM is in disarray. In my constituency, the Womerton West, there was a protest this morning, carnage in Rowley's constituency. It's the longest traffic jam I've seen for years. People are fed up. Even the PNM supporters are fed up, but it's shame to talk. But as time goes on and they get more pressure, you will see more.
All right. Well, certainly it was a pleasure having you here in the Facebook live stream, UNC live stream, NATEX election officer, Mr. Don
Sylvester and my brother Brian Big. We are in touch nearly every week. So we know what the ground game is, and we are doing the ground game. And your Facebook viewers are doing their part. Congratulations to them, and special congratulations to you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Sylvester. Yeah, Northeast coordinator. You are a very busy man, boy. Like all of the Monday night forums seeming to fall into your lap.
Well, before the one in Pointe-a-Pierre, the ones before, yes, were within the Northeast region. And I can say that the Northeast region was well attended. We had one in Barataria, we had one in St. Joseph, we had one in Tunapuna, we had one in St. Augustine. Then it shows that we were well organized. So it shows that we were very much well organized as a party. Not only that, we have, besides outside the Monday night forums, we have been having walkabouts in our constituencies of the Northeast region. The East-West corridor, for most I can say, is very much waiting for the UNC to come back into office. We have people who are pledging support for Kamla Prasad-Bisesa. And I just want to say that the leader's response to the budget on Friday was par excellence.
I understand in the TV6 poll, which usually those seem to favor the UNC. She got a 68% approval rating.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. To show that the people of this country wants Kamla. The people of this country wants the UNC.
I was looking on social media and I saw a video with school children where the whole school came out and was chanting, "Rowley must go."
Well, it shows at a secondary school that our children are seeing what needs to happen.
Wasn't there somewhere in the East-West corridor, more Port of Spain side?
Lavantil to be exact. Success Lavantil School.
Wow, wow, wow. So, so in about 15 minutes, I guess they're getting ready to start the Monday Night Forum. Any ideas where we would be moving to next?
Stay tuned.
Okay, most likely would be somewhere I notice, is it a deliberate policy of the party to target this East-West corridor?
Well, the East-West corridor has always been a part of the UNC's plans. But you see, today especially, you have to remember, we have Parliament going on right now. And we must say that our MPs are doing an exceptional job. So, we're better than to come in St. Augustine with this UNC home.
Okay, so I understand that Khadija Amin, she is the coordinator of the St. Augustine constituency. How is she doing in this constituency?
Exceptionally well. As you can see, people are coming in by droves right now. Khadija Amin, Deputy Political Leader, Senator Amin, as the coordinator for the constituency, has been doing an excellent job. She has been walking the constituency. She has been having meetings with the councillors along with myself. So it shows that she knows what she's doing, and she's putting things in place to assist. Senator Gerald Ramlin is coordinating in St. Joseph along with myself as a co-coordinator with Nazimul Mohammed, who is the alderman, working hard with the constituency executive led by Councillor Amit Suknanan. And we have Councillor Shafar Zali is a part of that, and Councillor Seema Ramsaran is a part of that as well within St. Joseph, who will be speaking here today, Seema. So we know what has to happen.
And I understand Deputy Political Leader Ms. Jolene John is the coordinator of the La Joquita constituency.
Yes, well, the La Joquita Talparo constituency, under the direction of the coordinator, DPL Jolene John, has been a firebrand. It has been doing well, where she has been partnering with Chairman of the constituency, the Vice Chairman of the Kuva Tabaki Talparo Regional Corporation, Ryan Rampasad, and his team. So they have been doing well. And as you remember, we had a Monday Night Forum in La Joquita Talparo, and it was exceptionally attended. And DPL Jolene John is expected to speak here tonight as well.
Okay, so your job as Northeast coordinator, does it extend to the Toko Manzanilla seat?
Yes, it goes to Toko Sang. The Northeast region extends from St. Joseph all the way to Toko Sangre Grande.
All right, I see the former Senator Brent Sancho is around. Is he coordinating the Toko?
No. The Toko Sangre Grande seat is currently being coordinated by a former member of Parliament for the Joseph Tony. In the Tunapuna Monday Night Forum, the political leader had announced Joseph Tony. And we are getting things in place there. We are starting some party groups. We're going to be starting some walkabouts there so far. So he's on the ground working.
Okay. And the Dabadi Omera seat.
No, we don't have a coordinator there just yet. But as regional coordinator, I will coordinate that seat. As the regional coordinator, along with the constituency executive, who is chaired by Ms. Vidya Mahavir. And I want to continue to say that the coordination of that seat is being dealt by the regional coordinator.
Okay, well, your hands are really full, boy, really full.
Plus it's a legal practice.
Okay, so there you have it, folks. Any other last comments before we pass it back to stateside?
Well, all I can tell people is to stay the course with the UNC. Stay the course with Kamla Prasad Bisesa. We are on the verge of returning back to office because Rowley must go. And with this budget that he has passed, it shows that it is not a poor man's budget. It is a budget to make people go into the poorhouse.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I am seeing some important gentlemen standing up right in front of me here.
This is where I will take my lead.
Yeah, thank you very much, Northeast Coordinator Brian Big. All right.
The Vice Chairman want to take a picture.
Yeah, we pose a little bit for a picture.
Yeah, you gotta love the live feed.
Right. Mr. Director, you could coordinate the camera on stage. I want to talk a little bit with the chairman of the Kuva Tabakit Talparo Corporation. You'll have to take the camera on stage to get me there. Or, let's say a little few words there. All right, don't worry. We'll take him right down on the floor here. Right. So just before the meeting starts, I see like they're getting ready to start. A quick little word from the chairman of the Kuva Tabaki Talparo Corporation, Mr. Henry Awong. How are things?
Well, here in the struggle, fighting the battle. We look at the budget too, and I realize that only $1.8 billion was given to local government.
That was less than last year?
It was less than last year, and that has to be divided into 14 corporations, including to run the affairs of the ministry itself. So if you do the maths on that would not be very much. Yeah.
Just now they go pull a petrol train on your corporation?
It's possible. And they speak of local government reform. I heard nothing in the budget about local government reform. So apparently, local government reform is on the back burner. Remember, they campaigned in 2016 solely on local government reform. So nothing was mentioned at all in the budget with regards to that. So apparently that's on the back burner.
All right. Well, anyhow, we're getting ready to go stateside. Thank you very much for this little quick word. All right. So there we have it. We'll take you to stateside to take in the Monday Night Forum. So until then, see you later.
Good night, everybody. The meeting will be starting in 5 minutes.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. May I politely invite all of you who are on the outside to come in and sit on the inside. We have a lot of empty chairs that can be filled, so you don't have to stand on the outside. Anyhow, good night to each and every one of you. We would like to welcome you to yet another Monday night forum, a very exciting one, the first one after our budget. My duty is a simple one, just to help you understand your safety. First of all, if there is an emergency, you will not be alerted by any emergency bell or siren. There will be a verbal announcement letting you know that we do have an emergency. Our muster point is to the stage in the car park, as you saw on the outside. Our exit point for all vehicles are right where you came in there, and we are asking you all to exit in an orderly fashion. Our washrooms are to the left of me, through that gate, all the way down the corridor, and all doors are clearly marked, gents and ladies. And we are kindly asking you, if you have any medical emergencies tonight, if you can contact any one of us, including myself, and we will direct you to the appropriate people. Again, have a wonderful Monday night forum. We hope you take away the information you get here tonight.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Our UNC family, how are you feeling this evening? Let us stand for the national anthem by Celestia Augustine. by Sarah Barrett.
Good night, everyone. I ask that you please close your eyes in prayer. Almighty God, we offer prayers to you and seek your protection for everyone in our blessed country. We pray, O God, for you to protect all of us from harm and sickness, so that we may have the strength to look after one another. O merciful Lord, we pray that you will continue to bless our land and those who cultivate our crops, so that there would always be food. We pray that no one will ever go hungry. Grant us understanding, equal vision, and balanced minds. Guide us along a path of faith, devotion, and wisdom. Help us to recognize that each of us is equal. Make us appreciate that though we may be different in talents, circumstances, intellect, and beauty, we are all equal in humanity. Give us your protection so that we may live in safety and grow strong and free together. We pray that everyone will find love and peace in their daily lives. Dear God, we pray for our leader and members of our party. Protect them, God, and give them the strength and courage to continue their service to our nation without fear or favor. We pray for all our citizens. Give them strength to deal with adversities that face them now and in the future. Thank you, God, for keeping your children free in our democratic state, where every creed and race find an equal place. Dear God, we beseech you to bless our leaders, our people, and our country. Let us live together in peace and harmony and celebrate all that brings us together as we share the bounty of our land and the love of our people. Amen.
Thank you. You may have your seats.
Good night, everybody.
Our honorable political leader, Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar, who is on her way, MPs, councillors, aldermen, our specially invited guests here, you, our burgess, you, our constituents. Good evening.
Welcome to the constituency of St. Augustine. We have a powerful list of speakers tonight. I would like to also mention that many, as you all know, many of our MPs are right now in the parliament fighting for you, rebutting that wicked budget that Mr. Imbert put forward last week.
Do you agree? My name is Councillor Jalen Rupnarain for the electoral district of Kirepagi, and I will be co-hosting with my colleague here,
Alderman Kevan Gibbs. And coming on next is another alderman from the Tunapuna Regional Corporation. He's somebody that don't just represent one part of the corporation. He traverses everywhere, but he has a special love in his heart for where he's from, which is El Dorado. I want to introduce Alderman Kazim Ishmael.
A pleasant good afternoon, good evening, brothers and sisters. My dear brothers and sisters, I have a few minutes, so I'll be short and I'll be to the point. In an effort to maintain solidarity and fresh ideas, you can see from the table here, there's a mix of people. And in the Tunapuna Regional Corporation, we have that mix and that energy of councillors, made up of 4 councillors and 2 aldermen, who are fighting on a daily basis to ensure that the burgesses of the Tunapuna Corporation, which is made up of approximately 210,000 people, are satisfied. It is a major challenge, knowing fully well that on a yearly basis, allocations are reduced. Releases are not forthcoming. But yet responsibilities of the corporation keep increasing. The corporation have to do work for CPEP now. They have to maintain schools and maintain those additional responsibilities with a reduced allocation. Just imagine, how can a corporation with 210,000 people maintain and satisfy the requirements of all. What we have done as a team is try innovative means and ways and go out and try to communicate with the people and identify the needs of the people and prioritize things that we could do. I could let you know that just by walking through in St. Augustine, Ramkisoon Trace, there every 50 meters you walk, you will see a pipeline on the drain, restricting the flow of water and people removing rubbish with shovel. This is unacceptable. This is a burden on the corporation. WASA need to get involved and remove and redirect those pipelines so that there will be a free flow of water and debris so that there will not be restrictions. Ladies and gentlemen, there are a number of issues and problems faced at the Tunapuna Corporation. Traffic congestion here at the Churchill Junction and the Orange Grove Road on a daily basis. Just before you enter the university entrance, the potholes, the water leaks, the drainage issues, and now market problems at the Norris Narayan market where our burgess have now to pay $20 just to enter the market. You normally partake that market. I go and buy my bandania, they pay $20 a bundle. Now I have to pay $20 just to go into the market. So I'm sorry for the poor people. And with this price of gas hike now, I used to pay $100 every week for 5 days from Tagarikwa to St. Joseph. With this increase in the gas now, I have to pay $150. That means $250 approximately for the month. Brothers and sisters, this is an additional burden on the people of this country. We have to do better. The young people in Lavendale have sent out a clear message to the political leader and the Prime Minister of this country that they want him out. They stand in solidarity with the people who was marching there, and over 600 people and students at the Success Lavendale School stand up, and I salute them, and I salute all those who are against this tyranny of a government. As I close, ladies and gentlemen, the message on the ground, Mr. Prime Minister, the people miss the good governance and unprecedented growth and development our visionary and caring political leader Kamla Pasea Bissessa. The people cannot say the same for this incompetent and clueless government led by a visionless leader with no plan. Mr. Prime Minister, do us a favor. Resign, go to an election, and let us get a new government in place. Long live the UNC. Long live our beloved political leader, Kamla Pasea Bissessa. Thank you.
Alderman Kasim Ishmael. And we move on to our councillor who's concerned. He has a special love in his heart for sport and tourism. I see he sits next to me in council, and that's all he talks about. He loves the people of Canupia or the boundary of the Tunapuna Regional Corporation. I give you Councillor Samuel Sanka.
Good night to UNC family, brothers and sisters, and all those on the World Wide Web who have invited us to your homes. I want to let you know that we are excited about this party and where we are going. Brothers and sisters, I declare to you tonight that we have God-fearing, honest, and honorable people in the UNC. You could shout it out for that. We have God-fearing, honest, and people with integrity in the UNC party. And so tonight, who don't like it, oppose it, but I could defend it, and I stand here tonight because I am UNC, and I'm proud of it. I want to let us know tonight that we have a cadre of 6 persons fighting in the Tunapuna Regional Corporation. It's a battery of 6 persons. We are all fired up and we're excited. My brother, Alderman Gibbs, could tell you, because he is our leader in the corporation, the minority leader which leads the party. And so I pay respect to all my brothers and sisters. We have 2 young ladies here, and they are energetic, they are passionate about what they do. So brothers and sisters, quickly, let me bring you up to sport. What we are doing, everybody know where Washington Corner is in Caroni. Yes, there's a roundabout at the John B. Pease Junction. It takes you to the licensing office. When you get that, under the UNC People's Partnership, our government built that newly elected, that building there for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So when we speak about sport, what we are doing, we are closing that road from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Sunday mornings. And we'll be bringing cycling to Caroni. And we'll be cycling against cancer. And you all know what the cancer is. So every Sunday morning, we'll be having cycling, walking, and aerobics. So you get fit in time for Carnival. The other item that we're doing, we're working with all our farmers in conjunction with the Agricultural Society of Trinidad and Tobago. Brothers and sisters, what we are doing here is that we're having all my farmers in that area. We're having a corn festival. So what you have, we have boiled corn, roast corn, curry corn, corn pie, and Alderman Gibbs is the cornest here. So that's what we're doing in terms of agriculture. So each month, what we'll be doing is hosting a festival. So all agriculture, a pumpkin festival, we're going to have that. That's what we're growing on the land. We're going to have a corn festival, a cherry festival, and then we have a chula festival. So all the choka will come down, and that's where we engage our people, because that's our culture. So we continue to excite and move on. But I want to thank MP Fazal Karim tonight for the work that he have done in us helping and bringing together the volunteers within the Warren Monroe Road area in clearing 1 kilometer of drainage, 1 kilometer long by 12 feet wide, and we're able to mobilize our people. And so, in closing, brothers and sisters, I want to let you know, cousin, come with me, that this party is bound for glory. And the good Lord says that the sun will not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. And so, brothers and sisters, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans for you to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. And that is what I leave with you tonight, brothers and sisters. Have no fear, because Kamala is here.
You all see leadership we have in the Tunapuna Regional Corporation. It's just 6 of us. But under Kamala Pasea Bisesa, we have strength and we'll stand and fight for the people of this country. You know, the minister is all about boasting that he's going to cut expenditure. But we suffer and they have starved us in the corporation for 2 years. 2 years, you all hear that? We cannot even get a road patch. But don't worry, we're coming for them. This woman is a very hard-working young lady. She has been an activist for 25 years. She's not much of a talker, but I can tell you, when it comes to representing her people, she stands for the people. Let me welcome the Women's Affairs Officer of the St. Augustine Constituency Executive, the Councillor for Valsayn St. Joseph, Councillor Seymour Ramsaran Augustine.
Political leader, the Honorable Kamala Pasea Bisesa, my colleagues at the head table, MPs, senators, aldermen, and especially you, my UNC family. A pleasant good night. And to answer your question, yes, I am only 25 and I started as a baby. There are a lot of issues within the district of Valsayn St. Joseph, but not all of them fall under the Ministry of Local Government. Tonight, I will just highlight a few. I am sure most of you, if not all of you, have had a broken heart at some point in your life. So you know that pain you feel deep within your heart? Well, my UNC family, that is how we as councillors feel. Our hearts ache when we see our burgesses suffering. If I start on local government issues, I will be here whole night. So I will just mention a few. Simple things like road patching. Both my colleagues and I have waited 2 years. 2 years to get patching done in our district. Drains still waiting to be cleaned. And we are in the rainy season. You know why? One health team with less than 10 members cannot maintain an entire district. A district with over 10,000 burgesses. It is just so much, we will always be behind. But the relevant persons in charge have no clue as to what is going on there. It is us, the councillors, that feel the brunt of it. No jobs. People cannot feed their families. But yet they are told they don't qualify for a food card. Then who really qualifies for a food card? Crime is out of control. People cannot enjoy their lives. They have to stay locked up in their homes for fear of being robbed. This very community we are in tonight is not safe anymore to walk the street. Outsiders robbing villagers in their own community. While we want to walk about, residents keep telling us, you know, don't stay out too late, it's not safe anymore. Our health system, a mess. People cannot get medication at the hospital and they cannot afford to buy it. You know, listening to the budget recently, I remember the incompetent minister, Colin Members, saying last year to the citizens of this country, we raised gas once, no riot. We raised gas a second time, no riot. So we will raise it a third time. Do you all remember that? And guess what? Again in the budget, that's a fourth time and still no riot. Mr. Imbert, the citizens of this country, no burning tires and blocking roads will not get rid of this wicked government. The UNC is ready to rescue our beloved country, and we have a strong, vibrant leader who also has a vision to move the country forward. Our leader, the Honorable Kamala Persad-Bissessor, has a heart full of love. Love for our citizens, love for our nation's children. And our riot is coming. We will riot with our fingers when we put the eggs by the rising sun and dip this finger in ink. We will get rid of this wicked government for good. If you don't fear a riot, then call elections now. Long live Kamala Persad-Bissessor. Long live the UNC.
You know, this PNM government, they're so incompetent, they don't even know how to be shamed. At the same time that workers was marching from Point Fortin to Port of Spain, they give them letters, the workers' letters, sending them home. And one would think, when they saw just how big that march was, something in their heart would have said, you know what, we need to ease up a little bit. But this morning they could wake up and see 2,000 more workers going to be on the bread line from TSTT. They don't care. They don't even care that the people of the country is screaming out that, you know what, you all need to stop. Take note. You are hurting us. You are hurting our economy. When 9,000 people go home in one shot, that is a blow to the economy. And I'm sure that our powerhouse from Point Fortin tonight is coming here to reaffirm that. I give you, the man who has made the PNM feel shame, Senator Tahaka Obika.
Good night, Tunapuna in the school. Well, it's sounding good. So in Trinidad, we say when it's nice, you do it twice. Good night, Tunapuna. It feels good to be on the East-West corridor. I want to say I salute the political leader of the United National Congress, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, the next Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. I know Parliament is in session, so I want to recognize His Excellency Mervyn Assam and the Honorable Minister, former Daphne Phillips, and all the founding members of the party, also Chairman Natex, and I see my colleague from the Senate, the man who they afraid, Senator Saddam Hussein. All in Khadija territory, so you'll hear from Khadija just now. So when I said founding members of the party, I'm speaking of none other than Mr. Paris Ram. And of course, you know, Jairam C. Mangal is with us. So, one thing I want to say, the party is mobilized. The party is mobilized. We held pre-budget consultations, over 100 pre-budget consultations. Give a round of applause to your party, please. Yes. On the instructions of the political leader. All right? So I want to remind you of what the economy is like under this government. Keith Christopher Rowley, if we were to take Imbert's statement of $48.879 billion spent, has spent over $160 billion in 3 years. They have suppressed expenditure. There's probably about $3 billion they should have spent, but they have decided to delay by delaying paying contractors. They are so sinister that they are not paying workers what are entitled to them. For example, there are rumors of traveling allowances not being paid. This is the extent to which they will go to say that they have reduced expenditure. Another lie we want to dispel tonight, once and for all, is this lie about Imbert saying he has reduced the budget to $6 billion, the budget deficit to $6 billion. Where is the deficit? Meaning the amount that he spent is only $6 billion more than the revenue that they gained. That is a lie. Because if you were to add $4 billion, which is a loan from the National Investment Fund, raising $4 billion from the population, a loan can never, under any circumstances, can be considered as profit from state enterprises. They have classified the proceeds of a loan as profit. So you can imagine in your house, and the family come and say, hey, what's going on? I see you spend some money. Well, yeah, I make profit. But well, that 40,000 you spend, you earn that, yeah, I earn that. I went to the bank and I borrowed it. It's a loan. A loan under no circumstances could be profit. So the real deficit this year was 10 billion. So the deficit in the first year was 12 plus, then 7, then 10. So just to dispel the lie that they've reduced the deficit. Now, the economy in Trinidad and Tobago, really and truly, if you look at the Central Bank Economic Bulletin, there is only one bright spark in this entire economy, and that is the energy sector. And that one bright spark is as a result of the gas supply, the curtailment of the gas supply being ended. So there is gas available. And that was a direct result of people partnership government policies led by Kamala Persad-Bissessar. I mean, I think our leader needs a round of applause for that, yes. So, what we were facing was we had to face 3 years of Stuart Young running up and down the country, talking one set of nonsense about accelerated debt recovery, and it was the worst thing. However, not acknowledging that if they didn't write up the debt in 3 years, they could have written it off in 5 years. What we chose to do was take the bitter pill and write it off in 3 years. That is the expenses the oil companies would have engaged in exploration in the first place. So now, that regime ended last year, December. So the government has been reaping the benefits because they are now been able to extract their taxes from these same gas companies. And on top of that, the gas is flowing. So petrochemicals are improving. And the other lie in this entire budget was about this booming manufacturing sector. What they have done is they have added petroleum and chemical production to manufacturing. So oil and gas refining is now manufacturing. If that is not a lie, I don't know what is. So what they have done is they are treating only what you are pulling out from the earth, extracting, exploration and production as energy. And what we're doing in Petrotrin and Point Lisas, that is now manufacturing. So what we have done is we have removed petroleum and chemical products from manufacturing. And you see that there's been a 9% drop from 2014, our last full year in government, to now. And from 2015, a 7% drop in manufacturing sector output. So whenever they tell you that the manufacturing sector is booming, tell them they lie. So let's move on because the time is short. And I really want to address the issue of the fuel subsidy. When I was leaving Point Fortune this morning, there were taxi drivers and maxi drivers saying they're not going a place. They're not moving. There was supposed to be a protest in Trinidad about blocking intersections. They decided to block the cars and they did not leave. They were protesting in support of the workers in Petrotrin and against any decision to send us back to the plantation days, where we were basically hewers and drawers of wood, and in this case oil. And today, we in the United National Congress want to stand shoulder to shoulder with the 5,000 plus workers in Petrotrin who have won their decision against a dictatorial regime, who have won their decision in the industrial court. We are standing in solidarity with them. So at least I know the wetting and the heat that are taking the march from Point Pasea to Rienzi Complex wasn't in vain. And all brothers and sisters who march with them on the way to Port of Spain, we salute you. Now, just to raise an issue regarding the fuel subsidy, we have been reliably informed. We have been reliably informed that the Ministry of Energy has undertaken a study regarding what would be our final price at the pump for fuel, that is diesel and gasoline. And when the Minister of Finance quoted a figure of $5 and something cents, he was being disingenuous. Because the technocrats at the Ministry of Energy have declared that the Dominica, yes, Dominica right here in the Caribbean, the Dominica model is the model of pricing, petroleum pricing, for fuels that we will have to follow. And what they said is, when you add all the associated costs with importing refined petroleum products, freight, insurance, transit fees, customs and excise duties, terminaling, haulage, distribution margins, because the NP and UNIPET have to make profit as well, and retailer margins, the final retail prices would be in the vicinity of $7.64 per liter for gasoline. That way it's called super. And $6.88 per liter for diesel. So diesel will almost double. And if we catch in retail, we auntie, uncle, and nenen, as we say, to pay $4.97, you could imagine what will happen in Trinidad and Tobago if we have to pay $7.64. All right? So that is the next lie. In fact, things so bad, people looking all over Trinidad for which gas station they supply regular gas. If what you know what is regular gas, that's what the fishermen and them use. You know, sometimes they have to break it down in local parlance. So people going down quite down to Erin in the fishing depot to buy regular gas to mash up the engine because they simply cannot afford to pay $5 a liter. The 3 cents and count, right? So let me go on to something that this government has not addressed. Youth unemployment. I will take the last minute of my time to focus on that. Because if you look at the government's Vision 2030 agenda, all right, and you turn to page 26, and you look at the percent of government expenditure spent on innovation projects, which deals with the youth, because the youth are the best positioned in the labor force to prepare for the jobs of the future, which really speaks to diversification. And under the baseline for 2015, they don't even know, they didn't come and ask us. Their target for 2020 to be determined, so they have no target. the actual measure that they're going to employ, and the performance indicator to show what they have done over the past 3 years to be determined. So they have no decision, no desire to measure and to drive innovation from government spending. So let's look at youth unemployment. The figure I want to leave you with is 19,000. From when we left office in 2015 to last year, September, not even now, 19,000 youths from the ages of 20 to 34 have lost their jobs. Prepare, we are coming. We are mobilizing and ready for the next election whenever it's called. Thank you very much and have a good night.
You all see powerful speakers, powerful senators we have in Parliament. Give him another round of applause. Before I go forward, I would like to acknowledge, make some noise. Nice. That is a message for Rowley. Call election now. So I would like to acknowledge a few members here tonight. The chairman of our party, Mr. Peter Kanai. The general secretary of our party, Mr. Dave Tanku. I will also like to acknowledge the chairman of the Couva Corporation, Mr. Henry Awang. Former chairman and founding member of the UNC, Mr. Parasram. Dr. Parasram. We also have Senator Saddam Hussein, the chairman of the Tunapuna Constituency, Mr. Hamlin Jailal, and many more. I'm seeing constituents Sampaje, St. Augustine, Aruka, South. Good night. Make some noise again. I find you a little quiet now. We had to send Rowley a message. So I have a question for you tonight. Do you feel, may I in the house, do you feel safer today than you were 3 years ago? Do you believe that the PNM government is incompetent? They are very incompetent. Are your children getting better education today? The answer is no. But that being said, I want to take this opportunity to send a message to the Minister of Education, Mr. Anthony Garcia. The reason I'm going to send this message to you tonight, it has been 2 years now I am elected as a councillor, and I have been begging you to open the Kira Presbyterian School that started under the partnership, under Mrs. Kamala Pasad Bisessa. Every single time we ask the question, why you are not opening the school that is 95% near to completion, you know what he keeps saying? It's on the priority list. This is the 4th budget. Mr. Garcia, this is my last year for the local election to be called in 2019. I am going to do everything I can to ensure that you open the Kira Presbyterian School. It gives me the honor to introduce one of my mentors, the former chairman and the best chairman of the Tunapuna Regional Corporation, Ms. Khadija Amin. She is now the deputy political leader of our great party, the UNC. She is also a senator. She has been an activist, I think longer than Sima, from the age of 17, 1 year before she can vote. And she's one of the most hard-working person I have ever known. Let us welcome Deputy Political Leader and the Coordinator for St. Augustine, Ms. Khadija Amin.
very much, Councillor Jalen. And you see that QF Presbyterian school she talk about? It is very likely, just like the Beach School that the PNM refused to open, Kamla Persad-Bissessar may have to return as Prime Minister to open that QF Presbyterian school. My friends, my colleagues, members of the National Executive, my local government colleagues, I didn't hear anybody mention Glenn Ram. Glenn Ram is the chairman, he came from Rio Claro. Let's welcome our UNC Mayaro posse. Our councillors from all out Sandy Grande, Couva region and Arima as well. Former Ambassador and Government Minister Mervyn Assam, one of the persons who I campaigned with as a youth in that election that you ran in Tunapuna. And that was part of my welcome to marginal seats and marginal politics. And I thank you for your lessons in campaigning, Mr. Assam. My friends and colleagues from all over Trinidad and Tobago who are here with us, but especially to the people of St. Augustine. Make some noise for St. Augustine constituency. The people of St. Augustine know that you are very dear to my heart, having served as a councillor in St. Augustine South for 10 years, as well as the chairman of Tunapuna, Piako region. And I've been proud to serve this constituency and even further. My brothers and sisters, I am UNC and I am proud. The budget brought by Colm Imbert on October 1st was the fourth and hopefully the final budget of this Carlos Keith Rowley administration. It is time for a change. Trinidad and Tobago is crying out for the return of Kamla Persad-Bissessar as Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. My friends, since September of this year, the opening of the school term, more than 26 schools have not been opened. More than 70 educational institutions are hopping along on one foot. Either they don't have electricity, the sewer given problems, they have to be closed half day. The minister now has a program using laptops in schools as desktops, a retrograde step. YTEP, MIC, NESC centers are closed, affecting young children and youth and their opportunities. But you know what this PNM government has done? They have brought legislation to establish child rehabilitation centers, jails for children. This PNM government is closing schools and opening jails for children. They do not care about the children of our nation, and we must get rid of them. Here in St. Augustine, and particularly in St. Augustine South, there are a lot of farmers, and agriculture is a big part of our St. Augustine family. The Ministry of Agriculture has provided little or no support. In fact, when the compensation they have given to farmers affected by flooding over the past year is more of an insult than a compensation. There are attempts at calling out on the Agricultural Finance Support Program that they named last year was the only thing mentioned. And our farmers in St. Augustine are hurt by the actions of this government. But we know that better will come. We know that the United National Congress will return to government and we will see improvement in agriculture. My friends, as you know, the UNC is a very people-centered party. And so, in our preparation for this meeting, and even on an ongoing basis, we have walkabouts in the constituency. And I want to share with you, on our walks in this constituency, even in preparation for this Monday night forum, people greet us from behind bars. People lock their gates and live behind burglar-proof in St. Augustine, in Curep, in Spring Village, and other areas because there are so many robberies and home invasions. And one story stuck with me. In the Curep area, there's a lady with a mini-mart, and she told us that she had been robbed 3 times this year, and the police were never able to arrest anyone. But she is so grateful that they did not kill or murder her and her family, that she is just happy to be alive. We have reached to the stage where even though we have been violated by a robbery, violated by criminals, we are just so happy that it did not take our lives. The safety of our people in this country, throughout the length and breadth of this country, is no more under the PNM government. We are not safe. We are not safe in our homes. We are not safe anywhere. And the PNM government has no clue on how to fix crime. My friends, in St. Augustine as well, one of the things we encountered was that there are many people who were receiving disability grants who have been removed from the program. Some of them were told that they no longer qualify for food cards or public assistance, while those who are fortunate to remain on the program have gotten a $150 increase per month, which is $5 a day. You might be able to get doubles with that by Pablo in St. Augustine. But the truth is that that little additional money cancels off, because up to last week you couldn't even get Panadol at the pharmacy at Mount Hope Hospital. Many of our underprivileged are no longer getting drugs on CDAP. They pay more for food, they pay more for transport, and so the money is cancelled out. So I ask, Mr. Imbert, who are you fooling? You are not fooling us in the UNC. There are very few, and even the PNM people are beginning to get wiser, and they will vote you out as soon as you call the election. There are so many people, young people along the East-West corridor, and here in St. Augustine as well, who are well qualified and cannot get jobs, who are beginning to feel hopeless. There are many people who have lost their jobs. Even the CPEP crews that used to be in St. Augustine are no more. And you know what that means? The vacant lots that they used to cutlass are now overgrown with bushes. And bandits are hiding in the empty lots and making us more susceptible to crime and fearful for our lives. But our government, the present government, has labeled their budget turnaround. This is the print that they distributed, turnaround. I want to ask you, have you felt a turnaround in your income? Don't be afraid to say no. Come and say he getting run around. Have you felt any turnaround in your income? Have you felt any turnaround in jobs? The answer is no. Have you seen any turnaround in the price of food? The answer is no. Have you seen a turnaround in crime? The answer is no. Do you feel safer? The answer is no. When you go to the hospital, how is the service? Did you experience the first-class service that Minister Imbert described in the budget? So the turnaround will be for the PNM. The turnaround will be for them to turn around and get out of office. Call the elections. We are ready to return to govern Trinidad and Tobago. Our Prime Minister in waiting, the Honorable Pasea will be here shortly. And I want to tell you that St. Augustine stands ready and in full support of Kamala Pasea Bisesa to return as Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. God bless the UNC. God bless our leader. Thank you very much.
Mr. DJ. Well, change the mood a little bit. You know the song, sing along.
Start an easy road. How many say, come on the guitar so them think I better rose. We say, who feels it knows.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Jolene John.
Start an easy road. How many say, come on the guitar so them think I better rose. We say, who feels it knows. God help me sustain. Why? From the minute I'm born to enter this world, I'm in a new world to overcome first. Throughout every day they seem to get worse. Oh my God.
Good night, good night. His Excellency Mervyn Assam. I suppose I'm supposed to greet our political leader first. I'm seeing His Excellency here. Former Minister, Dr. the Honorable Daphne Phillip. Thank you. My colleagues at the head table, all the senators in the audience and at the head table, Senator Obika, our host, Senator Khadija Amin, our dear Councillor Jaylin, our Alderman Kivan, thank you so much. I hope you took the time to listen to the leader of the opposition on Friday when she responded to the budget. You see, yes, she stood there. She stood there like a rock. You see, whilst the government is running roughshod over the citizens, ruling by threats and bullying, Kalam explained it as doing it their way. For 3 hours, the political leader of the UNC stood her ground in Parliament in defense of the vulnerable, the poor, and the working class. Over and over and over, you've heard her said, just call my name and I'll be there. You see, every action of this government is designed to break the backs of the working class. Kamala Pasea Bisesa would never have closed down Petrotrin. Never. Never. It appears that every waking moment is spent with this government coming up with new ways to terrorize our citizens. Over the weekend, it was TSTT's turn. On Friday last, they had a meeting with 364 managers. And then on Saturday and Sunday, they began terrorizing these managers with emails. So on Sunday, when people want to go to church and prepare school clothes and go to the market and the supermarket and so on, TSTTs, the government and the board of TSTT had people at home freaking out and worrying about when they got to work this Monday morning if their jobs were going to be there. The emails informed that today all 364 managers have to go through, so they have to start, they gave them a schedule, they have to go through a psychometric assessment, and then a work cycle assessment, and then a presentation and interview. Did I tell you that these managers are currently working at TSTT? But that's some as people you don't know, doesn't it? These are people who are working at TSTT. What they have done, they have decided that they are going to create some business units in the company, and they're calling them something called autonomes. When I was going to school, to graduate school, these were essentially strategic business units. What it meant, every unit has to be responsible for its own spending, etc. So they have these things called autonomes, and they're saying the 364 current managers have to compete for 50 jobs. Well, we know 364 can't go into 50. You know, so you have these people really freaking out about it. Now, today, the majority of these workers, by the way, I believe, would have voted for this government. And now they have all turned their collective backs on them and using their power to use the power to send all of them home and out of a jobs. So all of them home. Now for the over 2,000 unionized workers, they have said for you all, we have something special. For you all, we are going to use the last in and first out. So the plan is that just like Petrotrin, all of TST staff will be sent home. They are going to be redeployed, they are going to be retooled, and they are going to be retrenched. Those are not my words. Those are the words that came out of that meeting on Friday. But lo and behold, the story was published in The Guardian this morning. And right after, TSTT sent out a press release denying that this is so. Now, you would have expected that a company with communications in its name knew how to communicate. You'd have expected that with 364 witnesses sitting there, that they would know what they're talking about. That if you tell them, I am going to send you home, I'm going to redeploy you, I'm going to retool you, and I'm going to retrench you, that they are telling the truth. And more than that, these people are so emboldened, they send those emails out on Saturday and Sunday. So tonight, I want to know whether the board of TSTT is calling 364 managers liars. That's what I'm asking. I am asking, can TSTT answer whether managers were told that they will be redeployed, retooled, and retrenched? I want to know whether they were sent emails this weekend, which really said, attached to the presentation providing additional details as it relates to your participation in this assessment center. Why you have to participate in assessment when you've been working at TSTT for years? And now you're saying it is not so. Why it is? Managers, citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, professionals who have been working there for years have to go and line up like puppy dogs and wait to get these 50 jobs, 364. Currently they have 50 jobs for them. So I want to ask the Prime Minister and the TSTT board tonight, when you send home thousands of workers from the tax-paying working class, who will go to the private doctors and the private hospitals and the dentists, who will buy the groceries on the shelves, who will go into the cinemas, who will go into the market, who will go into the pharmacy, the boutiques, the hardware, who will go into the bookstore, who will go in and buy Bacon Shack on Marcus Bay? I mean, these people are just intent on crippling this group called the working class. Because you will recall that people will go, well, you know, some of us do it, will go online and you try and you shop around to find goods that are cheaper. What did this government do? They put a 7% tax on your shopping, your online shopping, just so it drives up the cost of the item and it forces you to purchase at overpricing in Trinidad and Tobago. But does the rich shop here? No, the rich only sell here. They don't shop here. So this economy works because of the working class. Their collective spending drives the money around the economy. This is what causes the circular flow of income. It's not the government or a few, it is the working class. When they earn money, they spend money. So again, I want to ask the Prime Minister, what the tax-paying people of Trinidad and Tobago do to you? These professionals who work in the state sector and voted overwhelmingly for you, they voted to put you in a job, sir. And tonight you are using that power to put them all out of their jobs. Tonight that's what you're doing. These jobs, it's all they have. They made choices and they decided, we are going to sell our labor. We are going to sell our labor. We are specialists. We are petroleum engineers. We are fabricators. We are welders. These are specialist people in specialist jobs. What are they going to do? Because the last time I heard his Minister of Communications saying, oh, we have done something. There's a certain private sector business operator who has built a car park in Port of Spain. So what are you going to do with a petroleum engineer? Is he going to be a car park operator? And on top of that, the government is expending all of this energy in sandals. Are you going to exchange accountants and economists and marketers for what? Jobs as bellhops and barmaids and pool boys and girls? What is the plan? We don't quite understand it. Because you see, just recently,
The Prime Minister said agriculture can't work in this country. It is too small. There's nothing about efficiency. So he said, okay, I'm going to invest 100 million into alutrin, into rims, because rims does taste good with rice and roti. You understand? Rims does taste good. So he don't care about agriculture, but he care about some 2x4 thing to make rims. I don't understand it. You know, when you take a look at other Caribbean countries with economies just like Tobago or smaller. Now what do they do? In Grenada was just rated the Cruise Critic Award in tourism. The Bahamas, they have seen their tourism arrivals go up, climb by 10.7%. A little island which was plummeted by the hurricane in 2017, Dominica. You know the disaster they faced in Hurricane Maria. Dominica now has 57% availability of hotel rooms. And British Virgin Islands, Antigua and Bermuda, all of them victims of hurricane. And they are all roaring back because they have focused management, they have a marketing plan, they know what they have to do. Now we want to welcome our political leader, Pasea. Thank you, honorable political leader. As I said in my opening remarks, when Keith Rowley and Colin Member is driving the poor, the vulnerable, the working class into the ground, Pasea is saying, just call my name and I'll be there. Thank you. So basically, what did Tobago get for voting proudly for their wee boy, Rowley. They got a slow boat from China. And you know today, they put it on. And that boat has a capacity of 700 passengers. You know how much they carried on it? 100. So it's an incremental boat. So the next time if it's sailing tomorrow, they're going to carry 101. You can't go to 200, they can't rev it up too fast. And then you'll go 102. So that's an incremental boat because they're playing smart with stupidness. Because if the boat was a good boat, they would have put these 700 people and loaded it with confidence. You see, because everything they're doing back to front. We know about a slow boat to China, but they bring a slow boat from China and then said it really is supposed to be a boat to work from the Toko port. But again, the port does not exist. And how will the people get to Toko? They're getting there on a $400 million highway that doesn't exist. And is actually at this time a road to nowhere. So brothers and sisters, tonight, the Prime Minister and his Minister of Finance says, numbers doesn't matter. When they asked Rohan, how long will the boat take? He said, your guess is as good as mine. Because for them, numbers doesn't matter. People doesn't matter. They talk about balancing the budget, but not about a balanced, fair, and just society. So as a result, all of Tobago economy is gone. Fuel subsidy is gone. Food card gone, and everything is just gone. Everything just gone under this wicked, oppressive government. But I assure you that weeping may endure for the night, but joy cometh in the morning. Joy cometh in the morning. Right, and as Martin Luther King said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. So after the storm, the sun will rise again. Petrotrin will get their justice. TSTT will get their justice. There'll be justice for all of us in this land under the rising sun. Because as I've said before, in the house of the rising sun, there are many mansions. And if it were not so, I would have told you. So I ask you to let Kamla Prasad Bisesa be your bridge over troubled waters. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you for us to keep the faith, to remain strong, because this is not an easy time that we are facing. I have never heard people so troubled in this country. I have just not. Everywhere you go, it's just nobody knows the trouble I see. But we know that there is a solution. We know that woman who stood on her feet for 3 hours fighting on behalf of Trinidad and Tobago. We know that she has a lot of the solutions. She has done it before. She has brought jobs to Trinidad and Tobago. Under Kamla Prasad Bisesa government, we did not cut jobs. We created 54,000 jobs. 54,000 jobs. The government of Kamla Prasad Bisesa was not a job-cutting government. This was a government that had respect for the poor. On Friday last, when we were marching along the Eastern Main Road, when I looked to my right, without any prompting, you just heard the students of Success Laventille. They had lined the school, and they started to sing what? What were they saying? What were they saying? What were they saying? Do you agree with them? Okay, thank you, brothers and sisters.
It's not an easy road.
Let's give it up for Deputy Political Leader, Mrs. John, once again. And let us make some noise for the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisesa. I would like to recognize MP Barry Padarat for the Princess Song constituency, MP Vidya Gopi Singh, my colleagues, Councillor Nadia Khan, Councillor Ramchan Rajbal Maraj, Councillor Amit Suknanan, Councillor Alan Sipasad, All of these are very hardworking councillors in the UNC, and many more that are not here right now, but they know themselves. This gives me the opportunity to introduce a woman who is not afraid to stand up against injustice, stand up for the brothers and sisters. She has a runny bell on the PNM. I give you Lady Gypsy.
Good night, everybody. Miss Kamala, good night. All you are back home, right? Right where I belong. Thank you. Run the track. Light up my people. Too much of one thing, good for nothing. Too much of good thing, never enough. I don't know why my black people cannot see. No party never care about we. Every election we so devoted. How we love up the PNM. As soon as the election come and go, it's only problem after problem. How could we cope? Man lost their hope. I ain't seeing no solution. Every time PNM come in power, it takes a toll on black man. I don't want to sound like a racist, but this is what I can see. They don't take care of the race, cause they damn well know they have we. I want to ring my bell, wake up Eric Williams. Tell him the party from the PNM need immediate attention. Ring my bell, wake up Mother Cornhawk. Tell she to cast a spell on PNM, cause it's not what it used to be. I ring my bell, ring my bell. I ring my bell down there. I ring my bell, ring my bell. I ring my bell down there. Crime will never stop in this country once black people belly empty. How could a man work in CPEP, maintain his whole family? All you say the past regime was so bad, so much wrong thing they done to we. Now that PNM take over, white poor people going hungry. When PNM win, all African grin. Now we get back we country. All they doing is complaining and here doing nothing for we. The mess already made, don't sit in the shade and ponder on we problem. Get off your ass and do it fast and find a way to solve them. I want to ring my bell, wake up Dr. Rowley. Tell him all them workers in Petro train have mortgage and their family. Ring my bell for Petro train workers. If you lost your work and have no money, no damn vote come 2020. I ring my bell, ring my bell. I ring my bell down there. I ring my bell, ring my bell. I ring my bell down there. When you was campaigning from the workers, you won the vote. Now that you get in power, you take a knife and you cut the throat. How could you be so heartless to send all these workers home? Your only concern is the 1% alone. You criticize everyone, Mr. Know-It-All. Now you're moving worse than them. And it's we who have to suffer at the hands of the PNM. But when poor people cry, the tears just fall back on you. Vengeance will make sure that you pay for what you do. I want to ring my bell, wake up Mr. Speaker. Tell him the country blight and he was right
We don't have no prime minister. Ring the bell. Wake up Patrick Manning. Tell him things not nice. We didn't take your advice, so we damn well have to suffer. I ring the bell, ring the bell. I ring the bell down there. I ring the bell, ring the bell. I ring the bell down there. So much of educated black people that was born here in this island, because lack of opportunity migrated to a foreign land. When I was small, in every school hall, Eric Williams' face you could see. Now every 5 years a new PNM. You can't identify nobody. When UNC was there, Barack Podebe, they take care of their people. Why you can't do the same thing and South African from seeing trouble? PNM come and PNM go, in the same plight of my people. Stop suffering the poor man and making more young bandit here in this land. I want to ring, wake up Mr. Justice. 15 years before one last any case try. Some does make it and some does die. Ring the bell, wake Mother Teresa. She might be closer to God than you and me, so please say a prayer for we. I ring the bell, ring the bell. I ring the bell down there. Thank you very much.
Ring the bell. That is a message to this incompetent government. Ring the bell and call election now. I would like to recognize the La Hokita, one Trinidad and Tobago crew. And our former MP, Mr. Dakota from Muruga Tableland. He's somewhere around. This gives me the honor now, the moment you all have been waiting for. Mr. Alistair Duki will do the introduction of our Prime Minister to be, Mrs. Bisessa.
Good night to the political leader, Mrs. Kamala Pasad Bisessa, members of the head table, and most importantly, members of the UNC family. Tonight I have the honor and privilege of introducing a person who is very special to everyone gathered here tonight. A very strong woman who by her accomplishments has paved the way for people like me to serve the people of this country. She is the only leader we can ever say had the young people of this nation at heart. The only leader who has always acted while thinking about the future of Trinidad and Tobago. This country has been neglected by the current administration, this PNM government. The villagers has been appealing for simple work to be done to develop the community. I am seeing a government that is refusing to help the people of the East-West corridor. They have broken every promise they've made thus far and continue to make excuses. But the leader I'm about to introduce does not make any excuses. She gets the job done. Members of the St. Augustine Constituency stands in full support of the political leader, Mrs. Kamala Pasad Bisessa, as Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. She is hardworking and ensures that our future is secure. She has set about making sure the people of this country, especially young people like myself, have the future and opportunities to prosper. I take the honor in introducing our political leader, Mrs. Kamala Pasad Bisessa.
Thank you very much. Members of the UNC family, good evening to all of you. members on the head table, members in the audience, those listening on the airwaves. I want to thank you for tuning in, and I want to thank those who have come out, all the distinguished persons who are here, and in particular, my former colleague from way back when, most distinguished Mervyn Assad. Can we give him a round of applause? My colleague, Dr. Daphne Phillips, and spouse, and of course our first chairman, Dr. Rampasad Parasram. May I congratulate him on his recent election to the Mahasabha Executive. And all of you, there's so many of you, but given the time, I'm sure you will allow me to proceed. All protocols observed, and I know that our chairpersons and others have been acknowledging the very distinguished people, all of you who are here today. So I know that you're eager to hear about the government's latest budget and our views. I am in fact coming from the Parliament. Some of our members are still in the Parliament batting. And can I congratulate all opposition members so far on their very sterling contributions to the budget debate. Before I speak about my feelings and that of the opposition and yours, because we had consulted all of you, let me thank all the parties, officials and activists, chairmen, mayors, aldermen, councillors, party groups, party executives, national executive, MP, senators, for, as Tahaka told you, over 100 pre-budget consultations held. Thank you for that. And so we went in to speak on your behalf and to raise your concerns, and that is what we have been doing since Friday, and will continue all of this week and next week. But before I do that, I want to make note of the very historic victory for the workers of Petrotrin today in the Industrial Court. On Friday, I had said in Parliament, you cannot close down Petrotrin, you must not close down the refinery, you must not send home the workers. And I vowed we will fight them inside of the Parliament. We will fight them outside the Parliament. We will fight them in the streets. And that we would fight them in the courthouse and we would win. And this victory for the workers and for their union today in the Industrial Court, when that court granted an injunction, a restraining order, preventing Petrotrin from firing the workers and terminating the workers and so on the basis that Petrotrin workers are saying that the board of Petrotrin, and therefore the government, that they have committed an industrial offense by sending termination letters when there was a memorandum of agreement for 18 months of discussion with the union members on particular committees to talk about restructuring. And on Friday in Parliament, whilst I was on my legs talking in the budget response, I was handed a copy of a letter that had been sent to the workers, that was being sent to workers. And it was really, I said it was contemptuous, it is still contemptuous. And it really shows a government that is in total disrespect to the rule of law and to the court processes in our country. The court's ruling further exposes the very repressive, exploitative and anti-worker stance of the Rowley regime and their disdain for proper industrial relations practice, including appropriate grievance procedures. Again, we applaud the victorious Petrotrin workers, their representative union, the OWTU, on their courage and determination to challenge this very oppressive PNM government. Jerlene has told you of what will be happening at TSTT. How many more has to go? And therefore, this first victory for workers will signal the way for victory for all the workers in Trinidad and Tobago. The Rowley regime's flagrant breach of the standing memorandum of agreement is very typical of his arrogance and high-handedness. The opposition calls on the government to honor the agreement and to engage in discussions with the representative union in negotiations in good faith and in the best interest of all of Trinidad and Tobago. Further, we call on the government to stop any private negotiations with workers in an attempt to undermine the court's ruling, because what they do, go behind the order, to go for individual persons. We trust that this victory for workers of Petrotrin will lead to fruitful stakeholder dialogue aimed at ensuring that the energy company is kept functioning and made viable and sustainable for the benefit of all in Trinidad and Tobago. The government has appealed the industrial court's ruling today. And again, I cannot remember, I was talking to my colleagues in the labor movement, MP Indarsing as well, a former trade union leader. I don't recall any time where a government has appealed an injunction, a temporary interim injunction, in order to hear the case. But again, this government cares not about you and your families. They do not care about the working class. They do not care about the middle class. They care only about themselves and holding on to power. Again, before I get to the budget, there's a second very troubling matter. As this Petrotrin saga unfolds, this government is exposed as the most dishonest, manipulative and devious group of people who has ever ruled this country. They are not to be trusted. You cannot believe anything they say, because they will say and do anything to get their way. Tonight I want to address the Petrotrin issue, and I want to show you why you must not, cannot, and should never believe anything this government says to you. On the 28th of August this year, just over a month ago, Chairman of Petrotrin announced to the country plans of the government and the board in relation to Petrotrin, and said two important things on that date. He said, I quote, "Let me tell you, the reason that it is being shut down, it is because it is not economical to run it." He then went on to say, when asked, was the refinery going to be sold, he said, the board chairman, "Definitely not, definitely not. There is no plan to sell it. Don't even think of it being sold." That was 28th August. 5 days later, none other than the Prime Minister, addressing the nation, was telling the country the refining assets of Petrotrin can now be put in a separate company for opportunity attention. The OWTU will be given the first option to own and operate it on the most favorable terms. 5 days before, the board is saying, no sale, definitely not. 5 days later, Prime Minister said, up for sale, union first option, and then they look at other favorable ones. So 5 days before, no plans to sell. 5 days later, plans to sell with union being the first option. It's first thing. This is a government that has duped this country into voting for them. They ran an election campaign on lies, falsehoods, fabrication, and you must not allow them to fool you again. Never again. Do not believe a word they say. When the Prime Minister spoke on the 2nd of September, he said in his first few words that he was speaking to the country on the closure of the Petrotrin refinery. At the end of his speech, he said, "I want to give you the assurance that the same resolve that it took us to make the decision to close the refinery is the same strength of character which will see your government put your anxiety ahead of any other consideration." In the budget speech delivered just a week ago, last Monday, Finance Minister said, "We have decided to close the refinery." All of this within 1 month. We have decided to close the refinery. All the reports that they received, Lashley and Solomon, all the reports, not a single report recommended to close down the refinery. They were all to restructure the company. I've been carefully following the issue with the closure of the refinery at Pointe-a-Pierre. It is clear to me the head does not know what the foot is doing, the right hand does not know what the left hand is doing. And so citizens of this country are being kept in the dark about everything that is going on at Petrotrin. So here we are being told about the closure of the refinery. I wrote to the chairman of the EMA last week and asked the chairman, as a matter of urgency, to provide the following information. The date upon which Petrotrin applied for a certificate of environmental clearance to undertake works for closure and or decommission of the refinery. The date at which this application was considered by the EMA. And thirdly, whether a certificate of environmental clearance was granted, and if so, the date upon which it was granted. I did this because Section 35 of the EMA Act states very clearly, no person shall proceed with any activity which the minister has designated as requiring a certificate unless such person applies for and obtains a certificate. By virtue of that certificate, there is an order made by the government dealing with activity 28, which states establishment of infrastructure for crude oil refining. Definition: the establishment, modification, abandonment of associated works of a crude oil refinery. So I sent this letter last week, and it is clear from the law and from the definitions of what they plan to do that no action in law could be taken by Petrotrin towards closing the refinery, decommissioning the refinery, any other associated works unless they got a certificate of environmental clearance. Do you know, as soon as I asked the question and raised the issue of the requirement to get that certificate of clearance, all of a sudden the refinery is not closing anymore. All of a sudden, they said they are not closing the refinery. You know what they're doing right now? They are mothballing the refinery. So when they are caught out, they change the word. But they think people are stupid as they are, that everybody's as stupid as they are. Because when you look at all the definitions, you will see that mothballing is caught within the law. So they are now mothballing it. The Prime Minister tells you they're shutting it down. The Minister of Finance tells you they're shutting down. The chairman of Petrotrin told us they were shutting it down. Now when they are exposed, they're not shutting it down anymore. But what they're going to do is to mothball. This is why, again, I say do not trust a word, do not believe a word that they say. I want to tell you tonight that in law they cannot shut down the refinery without complying with the law. I have consulted with international experts on this matter, and it is very clear that mothballing the refinery, shutting down the refinery, modifying the activities of the refinery, decommissioning the refinery, all require the grant of a certificate of environmental clearance. And if they take God out of their mind and think of carrying through with their plan in breach of the law, I trust the EMA will act according to the law. And should they fail so to do, I shall put on my court clothes with others and we shall challenge them in court. But this Petrotrin saga gets worse. So there are issues I've raised with you already. Their breach of their contempt of the court proceedings, their breach of the law with respect to the certificate of environmental clearance, but it gets worse with respect to procurement issues. You know, we had passed a law, procurement and disposal of property. So if you want to buy something, you have a process according to law. And if you want to dispose, you want to sell something, there is a process. In what the government has described for Petrotrin, they will have to do both. Procuring gas oil, aviation fuel, there's another one, gasoline, the refined products, they will have to buy that. And if they want to give away any of the assets, if they want to offer the refinery because they are clearly going to sell the refinery, that's after they mothball it, that is disposing. There is a process that must be followed. Now this government has been in the habit of making secret deals. And you know, instead of walking around this Prime Minister trying to incite racial discord, he spent about 3 weeks on every platform inciting racial discord. He should be explaining the secret deals that his government has been making. He should be explaining secret deals he has signed in Venezuela, in Guyana, and with Sandals, and with the China company for the docking facility. He should be explaining what the real plan for Petrotrin and the thousands of workers who will be going on the breadline. And you know, on the same day when thousands of workers are fearful, their families are fearful, they don't know what's going to happen next with their jobs, the Prime Minister said, I saw in a newspaper, the only regret the Prime Minister has is what? He cannot pay steel pan. That's his regret. No regret for the thousands of workers. He says it's not about the numbers. I told him these are not numbers. These are human beings. They have wives, they have children, they have families to take care of. And if you see people just like numbers, then you have truly lost your way. So tell us, what is the plan? What is the plan for these workers? What is the plan as they go forward? He should tell us, let us know who they signed a secret deal with to import the gas. When you shut that refinery, you have to import the gas. I just mentioned it. The gasoline, the oil gas, or gas oil, which I think is the diesel, they have to import aviation fuel. Take note of how they do business. In the middle of the fairy tales saga, they let things get so bad that a cabinet committee, without any tendering process, they just ups and buy a ferry. Remember that? No transparent procurement process. That ferry which they now claim is to operate out of Port of Toco. You ever hear things like that? After they buy this galleon's passage, they say, you know what, that is really for Toco, from Toco to Tobago. So they buy the boat first, and now they say in the budget they're going to do what? Build a port. Because the galleon was clearly and is clearly unsuited for the other run. And they claim it is because they had to rush, because they needed it quickly. Millions spent on the taxpayers, no process, because of their own incompetence and short-sightedness, incompetence. Are they doing the same thing again? The minister says we only have 20 days left of fuel. Why is he saying that? Is it that to send people into panic so they can get an excuse assigned to import the oil and so on, and the gas? To do it in a hurry. But that's why he said they bought the galleons. They had an emergency. An emergency they created when they terminated the contract with the boat that was on the Seabridge service. So are they creating that same panic situation again? Let's take careful note of what Energy Minister told us when he came to Parliament. He says when the operations are terminated, there will be a 20-day supply of fuel for the local market. Our first shipment of imported products will be coming in on October 17. He told us this on Friday, which was 5th of October. First shipment of imported products. So only end of August you're going to shut down the refinery, before no shutting down. And within 1 month, you have gone and found somebody to buy these products from, the refined products. Something is rotten in the state of Trinidad and Tobago. Something is rotten in the head of Trinidad and Tobago. The minister said this on Friday after I had spoken in the budget contribution. He stated clearly there will be a shipment of imported products on October 17. Today is what, the 8th? Within 9 days. To supplement the supply of fuel for the local market. But so many questions arise from this announcement. Who will be supplying this fuel? How much will they provide? Is this a one-off or a long-term arrangement? What is the cost of this new fuel? Was there a competitive tender process? Or did you select your friends and family and financiers within that short period of time? If this is a long-term arrangement, have we protected ourselves from the expected rise in fuel prices? Who do they have already in their back pocket? Where is it coming from that it could be? Is it that there are tankers sitting out in the open sea just waiting to sail in? Because you've already made your deals. Tell us, what was your procurement process? we will call on the minister to answer these questions. We will call on the prime minister. I want to tell you, any deal like this one for fuel to supply our nation's needs has long-term implication. It's the kind of deal that will turn their 3F's friends, family, and financiers into billionaires. In 1 month, you will shut down a refinery and import all the products that refinery is making. Something, I say again, is rotten in the state of Trinidad and Tobago. I call on the media to ask the Prime Minister, who is the agent who is going to supply them with the gas and aviation fuel and so on? How much is the contract worth? And how long is the contract for? I want to know what is the agent's fee, because it will be taxpayers' dollars, my dollar and yours, to pay them. How much are they making a deal? What are the terms of the contract? I want to warn the media, do not accept any foolish response that it is a board decision and then say go to the board, because that's what the Prime Minister does. Washes his hands of every question and every responsibility and say go to the board. That is a cop-out and a deflection by the Prime Minister. He is the Prime Minister and the buck stops with him. He must make himself available and answer the questions. And if he cannot do so, he must make way for a UNC government to make things happen. He must explain himself. He must be held accountable. He should be explaining what are his plans to remove the hardships his government has inflicted on you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Again, I say I listened to the Minister of Energy last Friday, trying to provide the country with assurances about the supply of fuel so you don't have to worry. The Minister told the country, and let me quote him again, our first shipment of imported products will come in on 17th October. I want to tell you tonight that on the day the Minister was speaking, I had in my hands emails, internal to Petrotrin emails, dated that same date, October 5th, 2018. When the shipment would come, where Petrotrin was saying that it had not yet evaluated bids for the supply of fuels, I want to repeat, they had not yet evaluated the bills. And I have that email, which I will share on another day, given the time to read all of it. In that email, reference is made to a request for proposals, an RFP. There is no date of the RFP. There is no indication as to which companies were invited to send requests for proposals to supply the jet fuel, the aviation fuel, and the other refined products. And let me quote from one of the emails. Subsequent to the issue of the RFP, this is October 5th, last Friday, 2018. Subsequent to the issue of the RFP for the supply of products to Petrotrin attached, there are 3 parties which have made it to the final round for consideration and final negotiations. The 3 potential suppliers are BP North America Petroleum, a division of BP Products North America. Trafigura Private Limited, the second one, and Cassiton Commodities International. Petrotrin's own documents on the 5th of October is telling us there were 3 companies which made it to the final round for consideration. How did we find these 3 companies in the first place? Is it because there are people on the board or people in the executive management at Petrotrin who have or had associations with these companies, BP for example? Do we have people there who are affiliates or were affiliates of BP? That's why BP found its way into the list. Or Trafigura or Catsiton. I'm asking questions. How did you get these 3 people, 3 companies to tender, to send in RFPs based on invitations? Because you wouldn't jump out of the sky and send an RFP, you know. There has to be a request, send in a bid, there has to be a request for proposals. They had to invite you. So I like Chairman Awong, I send him an RFP, I say, boys, send in something. Okay? I like Mohani across there, send in. I know you, Pandit, you sent. What was the process? How many companies were invited to send in requests for proposals? How many was invited and given the RFPs to send in their documents? How many? And after how many you sent it to? You said you ended up with 3. What was the process to end up with these 3? Is it I like how you look? I know you from years ago. We worked together. What is it? There must be a clear and transparent process, because we are talking about billions of dollars here, you know. Billions of dollars of taxpayers' money that will go to pay for these products. You see what this means? Petrotrin, as on the 5th of October, from its own document, was negotiating for the supply of refined products. There was no buyer chosen on the 5th of October. There was no sale confirmed on the 5th of October. Energy Minister, however, comes to tell the country the date the fuel will be arriving. So you don't know, you don't have somebody picked. You have people hand-picked to send in RFPs. But you don't know, as I said, which buyer is chosen, which sale is confirmed, nothing of the sort. But he's telling us, hey, you see next week and a half too, October 17, guess what? Fuel coming in. Does that sound right to you? Does that sound as though there's a transparent process taking place? Something is very rotten in the state of Trinidad and Tobago. So while Petrotrin is still evaluating bids submitted as a result of the RFPs issued by Petrotrin, already on the water to arrive in Trinidad, this thing is coming on the 17th. So some ship is parked up, some tanker parked up there, some out of the friend, family and financiers. I'm asking you, which ones have you handpicked that you know on the 17th this thing? Where is it coming from? Where is it coming from? From the high seas? Which country are you going to get that to come in within 2 weeks? Where? Tell us that, Minister. The process to be followed is after the bids are evaluated, then you negotiate, then you get the best price, and then you draw up an agreement, you sign up the agreement by the legal department approved and so on, and then you get board approval. How you know this thing coming on the 17th if you have not completed, evaluated the bids? I say again, something is very rotten in the state of Trinidad and Tobago. As I continue, I want to ask the Minister and the government the following questions, because I think this is a scandal of immense proportions. This is worse than World GTL waiting to happen. Tonight I ask, what was the procurement process used to send out the invitation for RFPs? Who evaluated the bids for supply of fuels to Petrotrin? What was the process used to evaluate the bids received? What was the order placed for the supply? What was the price paid? And who negotiated the price with the supplier? You see this? Well, thousands of people in this country wondering how they will feed their children next month, how they will pay their bills, how they'll pay their loans, how they'll pay their mortgages, how they'll look after their mother and their father and their children, how they will pay their mortgages, I said before. You know what? While all of this is going on, this government is smiling all the way to the bank. Smiling all the way to the bank. The Attorney General has a famous saying, his government will follow the money. But I did not realize what he really meant. They are truly following where the money is, are they? They're following the money at the expense of the people. I want to tell them that when we take back the reins of government, power will not be following the money. We'll be finding where the money gone and get paid back. And they will have to pay back every cent, every red or black cent, as the case may be. So I share all these things on Petrotrin, topical at the moment. Let me share with you before I go. 4 P&M budgets, 3 mid-year reviews. Are you better off today than 3 years ago? 4th national budget of this government. In all of these occasions, government has presented no plan. All they have done is create more hardships for people. And of course, in the very first 5 minutes of their contributions, I made a bet with some of my colleagues when we were going to Parliament on budget day, Monday last. And I said, they said, what do you expect in this budget? And so I said, well, you know what? he will blame Kamala and blame the government. He started his speech, Minister of Finance, at 1:33 p.m. Do you know within 1 minute at 1:34 p.m., I won my bet, hands down, because he attacked us within 1 minute. And I've noticed in their, all their contributions since then, Friday and today, they all start up in the first 5 minutes, they have to find something to attack Kamala. But they are so out of touch with reality. People overs that, you know. People overs that. This kind of shade, they keep showing shade at me and the partnership. People overs, they want to know how to put food on the table. They want to find out how to get books for his children, how to send them to school, how to pay the mortgage, how to get better health care. These crazy people, you know. Prime Minister of all people, man. Shameless. Says we have the best health care in the Commonwealth. There were 52 countries in the Commonwealth. There are now 53. One joined back. I had the pleasure, the honor and privilege of serving as chair in office of the Commonwealth. So I believe the Prime Minister doesn't know which are the Commonwealth countries. Because you know, India is in the Commonwealth. South Africa is in the Commonwealth. Canada is in the Commonwealth. Australia, New Zealand. You want to say we have the best healthcare than countries like these? And the bold facedness of that is because you say we have the best healthcare, but when you get sick, where you going? California. When the Prime Minister fell ill, when he went for his check, where he went? You mean they can't do that today? We were asking Tim Gopi Singh. Of course you could do that checkup in Trinidad. So it's a hypocrisy of the highest order. Hypocrisy. They speak one thing and do another. And then on top of that, they are saying, I call him terrible Terrence and the monster of health. Well, that thing like that, man, toting feelings. I don't know how many weeks ago I said that. And like he keep that in his chest, as they say, and he came to Parliament today. And he said, I'm a member of his superior, talking about people going abroad for health treatment. And you know what she did? You know what she did? When she fell ill in whichever year, you know where she went? Not Port Husband Hospital, not Grandy Hospital, not San Fernando. She went to St. Clair Nursing Home. Like that man don't even know that is part of Trinidad and Tobago. So I strayed a bit, but anyway. So after 3 years they've been in office, I think we knew it, but many others now realize, fully understand, what our MP for Naparima, Rodney Charles, tried to tell us over and over again during the campaign in 2015. He used to say always, they have no plan. Rowley has no plan. And now everybody sees him for what he is, clueless and incompetent. All the PNM were concerned with was winning elections. No plan, and they still have none. Tonight, all the unions know that now. The more than 5,000 petroleum workers know that. The more than 50,000 workers who have lost their jobs since this government came into power, they know it for clear. I think the economists know it, the media know it, business organizations, NGOs, and the civil society groups, they know it. They have no plan to run this country. They all know what you in St. Augustine and all of us here knew all along. The PNM led by Rowley had no plan. They still have no plan. But you know what? Tonight I tell you, St. Augustine, thank you for standing up and letting the country know that on September 7, 2015, you rejected Rowley and his PNM and you voted for us. Since the beginning of September to now, the country has been faced with out-of-control crime, rising murder toll. I believe it is what, 210? Up to 410. 410. Up to when we were sitting in the Parliament, Rodney told me he had checked, it was 410, and of course increasing. Gas prices rise again, thanks to... I have a nice thing I want to share with you. I picked up the newspapers after he delivered his budget, and I saw the headline in the Newsday. small man budget. And I said, oh my God, that is very disrespectful of Mr. Imbert. I always thought he was a big man. I didn't know he was a small man, or a small man budget. So, here we go. We have witnessed his budget, and what is very important, I say no plan. They have nothing in there for the hard-working, tax-paying, working class and the middle class. Nothing from the budget or for the helping hand to those who contribute the most to Trinidad and Tobago. And to make matters worse, just yesterday, a very disturbing development took place, raising alarms of dictatorship in the making. We have seen over the last 3 years alarming attempts by this PNM government to stifle free speech and freedom of expression. They're taking our country on a path to dictatorship and tyranny. The Minister of Everything, who has now become the Minister of Nothing, Stuart Young. Since he has become Minister of National Security, you don't hear him and see him. Before that, he was Minister of Everything. But suddenly he woke up from a deep sleep and sent out a press release from the Ministry of Communications warning about legal action about some call citizens had made to disrupt the flow of traffic. He accused the opposition of being parted with. I would make it very clear. If individual members of the public wish to engage in peaceful demonstration, I have no problem with that. But I want to make it very clear that the opposition was not involved in any planned protest to disrupt the country. It was clearly an attempt by Stuart Young to malign the UNC and to create mischief. Blame UNC, blame Kamala again. After weeks of saying nothing, he jumped out, issued a statement, when what he should have been doing is telling the country what the Ministry of National Security is doing about runaway crime. What is he as minister doing? I wish to state this evening that the threats to citizens reek of repression and are the actions of despots being pursued by this failed PNM rowdy regime. Do you remember the threats by no fewer than 5 government ministers against public sector workers before the recent day of rest and relaxation? Many of you will remember that the Prime Minister himself spoke about breaking the law, and if you rest and reflect and lost your job, threats. Many previous PNM governments have been beating labor protesters who were peacefully and legitimately marching for better working conditions. I wonder if you remember, I was in the parliament that dragged a fella, David Abdullah. He was outside the parliament in a legal process. They dragged him and locked him up. He may or may not be our friend, but he was protesting on behalf of workers lawfully. In 1975, labor leaders like George Weeks, Baste Pandey, Rafiq Shah, Joe Young, I think Mr. Robinson at one point was also involved. Hundreds of workers were beaten with batons. They tear gassed them as they attempted a public march for peace, bread, and justice. The PNM has always been anti-worker. The PNM has always been anti-people. The PNM has always been arrogant and oppressive. The PNM has always sought to use the police in a heavy-handed manner to stop and silence public dissent. If people rise and protest these days, it is because they cannot bear it anymore. They can no longer bear the suffering inflicted by this rowdy government. This government has presided over unemployment. More than 50,000 workers have lost their jobs since this government came into office. I want you to remember when we were in office, we created 55,000 new jobs. New jobs. And do you know we did that? We did not increase a single tax. We did not create any new tax, but we raised the number of jobs. We do not support illegal activity, but I am of the respectful view and the firm view that citizens have the right to protest within the confines of the law. Stuart and his cronies have gotten into the habit of trying to paint any voice opposed to them and their views. They say you are unpatriotic. There is nothing more patriotic than standing up against a government which is oppressive. And more we are seeing the signs of dictatorship taking root, and every single citizen should be concerned. The late US President Roosevelt once said, to announce that there must be no criticism of the president, or that we are to stand by the president, right or wrong, is not only unpatriotic, but is morally treasonable to the public. If it is only patriotic to say nothing when you're oppressed, Gandhi would not have been able to engage in acts of civil disobedience to the repressive and oppressive British rule. If the approach of Stuart Young was used during the marches from Selma to Montgomery, Martin Luther King would not have been able to protest for civil rights in the United States. I urge you, ready yourself, stay strong, stay united and focused, because the end of this dictatorial and repressive rowdy regime is in sight. We will vote them out. We will vote them out and return good governance. And I say, don't believe anything they say, but don't believe what they tell you about the average Petroton worker. These workers, I suppose we may soon have to call them former workers because they're serving these letters on them. These workers, they are not rich people, no. They are not all senior managerial level. They are hard-working, middle-class people. And our middle class is the backbone of the nation. Prime Minister Rowley does not understand who the middle classes are in Trinidad and Tobago. He's disconnected from the people. His whole government is out of touch. They're living in some sort of alternate reality. They have no plan to create jobs. Do you know that in the 3 hours that Imber took to deliver the budget, he never spoke about what the government's plan was for the young people of this country? You heard the young man tonight who introduced me. And I want to speak a little about the youth, because they are our most valuable resource. We all know that unemployment is on the rise. We have gone from a 3% unemployment when Lee left government in 2015. That has increased in 2017 to 5.1%. Even though they have the numbers, they have failed to give any unemployment numbers from since the third quarter of 2017 to now, over a year later. But even those numbers up to 2017, very bad. So what it means, a watch for worrying statistic is the youth employment, which stood at 11.35% in 2017. This means that between 2015 and 2017, about 18,800 citizens between the ages of 20 to 34 have lost jobs. They have lost jobs. And on top of that, no new jobs have been created for them. The government thinks that these persons under age 34 are worthless, expendable. What makes the youth unemployment an even bigger issue for us is its direct link to crime. Youths are both the primary victims as well as the perpetrators of crime. It is a fact that reduced economic opportunities for the young either increases their vulnerability to be a victim or send them to the other extreme, which may be joining a gang. You remember how the PNM forced through the anti-gang bill in the parliament, which after 4 months has not led to even one arrest. It ignored the main reason people become gang members, which is lack of opportunities and jobs. So they beleaguered us, they blood on our hands when we didn't pass the flawed anti-gang bill the first round. They brought it back 4 months later, man. They said they had everything in place. They knew where the gangs were. They knew where to find them. The police had everything ready. This was the answer to the crime problem. 4 months later, not one person has been arrested under this famous or infamous anti-gang law. So how can we help solve this crime problem? Creating opportunities is key to help solve it. Right here along the East-West corridor, the next UNC government I will lead will transform from Morva to Sandigrati into a national hub of opportunities for our young people. I had told the people of Tunapuna a few weeks ago, I said it again in the parliament during my budget response on Friday. Our plan is to designate the East-West corridor as a special growth pole. We will lower taxes for young entrepreneurs to create jobs in electronics, e-waste recycling, and manufacturing. We can manufacture medical, office, and school furniture. Our entrepreneurs need support. They do not need oppressive taxation. It is our small and medium-sized manufacturers who will create jobs, jumpstart our economy, and move TNT forward. We must support them because they are the future. And it is time, and more than time, to talk about the future, our future as a nation. We have no time for foolish distractions and attempts at race baiting, which the PNM tries time and time again. You know, every time their backs are against the wall, they pull the race card and then they say it is us, blowing the dog whistle, they call it, and race baiting. But you will notice every time backs against the wall, they go down to race baiting to distract from the real issues facing people. We know that people care about how they are going to pay their mortgage or their rent. People care about how they're going to feed children. People care about what is going to happen next. And in case anyone has forgotten, I want to remind you again, over 50,000 jobs lost since Rowley came into office. It started, you remember, when ArcelorMittal closed their doors. The government had a hands-off approach to the union negotiations with the company, causing ArcelorMittal to shut down. In fact, the company is on record saying they have tried to several times to meet the MIA, Minister of Labour, missing in action. And meeting never materialized, never happened. The minister's plan was for all these thousands of workers who were losing their jobs was to go somewhere to Canada to do what? Truck driving. One person get a job yet? Not a single person, not even that they could make happen. On that day, just about 1,000 jobs were lost. Then the government shut down the Point Fortin Highway, another 1,000 jobs lost. Then the government shut down the TDC, another 300 workers on the breadline. This month alone, directly employed workers of Petrotrin, 5,000. Well, they started sending them letters to terminate them. About 1,000 teachers from early childhood care centers sent home. The PNM stopped HDC projects all over the country and refused to renew public service employment contracts. More sent home. 50,000 jobs gone in 3 years. 18,600 of them are young people. That works out to one job lost every 45 minutes. Before we end this meeting tonight, at least 3 more people will be out of work. By the time you get home, 2 more will be wondering what will happen next day. And by the time you wake up in the morning, the number will keep increasing. Newspapers today told us about the 2,000 Jaylene talked about to go home from TSTT. So who will be next on the chopping block, on the sacrifice block? Will it be workers at WASA or TSTT or both WASA and TSTT? Will it be workers on the port or all 3, WASA, TSTT and the port? People are losing their jobs and crime is increasing directly with a direct link. This is a fact. What do I say today? We, the UNC, has a plan to not only stop the massive job losses, but also to create jobs, create employment. Like it or not, job losses impact all of us one way or another. Job losses impact the spending power of people. Job losses impact crime. Job losses impact education. Job losses impact you and your quality of living. When one person loses their job, we all lose a little part of what makes life better in TNT. Your party, the UNC, we have a vision for a thriving, prosperous TNT, in which all citizens have opportunities for sustainable jobs, better access to education at all levels, quality health care, and all are able to feel safe in their homes. This Rowley PNM is doing nothing to shrink the gap between those who have everything and those who have almost nothing. My friends, this has to stop. The middle class in our country is being turned into the working poor. When the PNM slashes jobs, increases the price of super gasoline, increase taxes, what they're doing is destroying the middle class of the country. They attack the middle class and expect them to carry the burden. Those of us in the middle carry the heavy load of trying to take care of our families, our communities, and our countries, our country. The middle class is just trying to get by in a system which is stacked against them, and by a government which blames them for everything that is wrong, by shouldering no responsibility for the decisions that the government is making. You know, there was a time if you were a carpenter at a regional corporation, you could go to a bank or credit union and you could qualify for a mortgage to buy or build a home. Those days are gone. There was a time when a teacher making a salary or a policeman making a salary enough to pay her bills or his bill, to take care of the children, they could still save something at the end of the month. Those days are gone, my friend. Today, teachers, clerks, laborers, as I said, policemen, public servants, they make up the working class, really, but this government is reducing them to the working poor in our land. They can't do what their parents and grandparents did. That is one of the reasons why the HDC is so oversubscribed. Because once upon a time, those teachers, clerks, policemen, laborers, and so on, would be able to stand as part of the middle class, building himself or herself, and building a future for the children. But they can't do that anymore, because the system is rigged against them. Some persons will say that they have it because they worked hard for it. I agree that many have worked hard, but I also want to tell you that some have had an unfair advantage. And to be honest with you, I do not blame anyone for his or her achievements. If you acquired your money because you worked hard for it, or if your grandfather or grandmother worked hard for it, I congratulate you for that. That is not my concern. My concern is for those who are working hard every single day, and they still cannot pay their bills, they still cannot save at the end of the month, they still cannot put up to own a home. That is my concern. And so, what about those who want to work and they cannot find a decent paying job, even though they've done all that they were told to do? We told people study in primary school and pass the essay. They did that. We told them study hard and get your passes at the secondary level. They did that. We tell them work hard more, work harder, and go and get a degree, and they did that. And now they have all of these qualifications. What are we telling them? There's no job for you. Or you know what? Take a minimum wage job. Or you know what? Join the OJT program. After they have taken the hard work to educate them. That cannot ever be fair. It is not fair. It is not fair that we are living in a country where a bank can declare record end of year profits. $1.25 billion. Not million, you know. $1 billion in profit in 2018. But they will only give their workers, I don't wonder what percentages again, but a very small increase. The employees of that institution should benefit, and not only the shareholders. Do you know most bank tellers don't even make enough to get a mortgage from the very bank that they're working in? Do you know that? A union recently said even if a bank gave all its workers a 50% increase in salary, the bank will still make more than $1 billion a year in profit. Can that be fair? Is that fair to hardworking people? That is the 1% that I speak of. That is not an individual. It is a system. It is a clique. It is a mindset focused only on the bottom line. It is a mindset, we say at Petrotrin. Petrotrin shutdown is about Rowley's bottom line, the dollar. Yes, we all understand Petrotrin needs to make more money. But Dr. Rowley wants to blame the management and the workers alone, when the truth is the main reason for the collapse of the oil price was what? The P&M operatives in Malcolm Jones, with the WGTL, with the ultra low sulfur diesel plant, the GOP, the gas optimization plant, that piece of elephant you see standing, an abandoned thing, and then we drive along the highway going past Point of View, a big piece of concrete and steel standing in the air, all those wasted millions and billions that Rowley now wants to blame the workers for. When it was, and the fake, oh yes, how could I forget fake oil? $100 million in fake oil to his bestie, the best friend of the Prime Minister, acknowledged by the Prime Minister as his friend. when this fake oil scandal broke, in fact, I broke the scandal, was at Hoover, and I brought the information to you. You know what the Prime Minister said? He was out of the country. He didn't call his Minister of Energy. He did not call the Board of Petrotrin. Whom did he call? He called his best friend, owner of the fake oil matter. And now what amazes me is this Prime Minister trying to double sell the country by lying to us day after day. He says the government is doing the best it can, and they cannot deliver because of lack of money. And you can't blame his government because the oil prices have fallen. But at the same time, he wants to blame Petrotrin workers for the downfall of the company. Do you know oil prices are on the rise again? I think it's about $84 today. You know, let's look at something. The foundation of being a Prime Minister is about improving the lives of all citizens. The job of a Prime Minister is to protect jobs, protect citizens, improve their lives. That is what the job is about at its core. And if Dr. Rowley cannot deliver on that core value of leadership, then I say that he is not only failing at his job, but he's also failing all of us as a country. You remember they said in 2015, they have a doctor to fix the economy. Today I say this economy is sick and this nation is in crisis. The doctor is guilty of malpractice and he should be fired now. Fired now. Fired now. The time has come to level the playing field. They accuse my government, your government once, not once, many times, of creating a welfare state because we expanded the gate, we opened the gate so more people could get access to education. Rowley P&M has closed the gate. They have cut off opportunities for young people. Today at our higher education facilities, classes are almost empty because parents cannot afford to send their children. And you know what is so sad? They talk about taking away 18,000 food cards. They talk about taking away 11,000 people less getting the gate. And you know what is the explanation? For the food card, they say they are cheaters. Those people are cheaters. You want to tell me 11,000 children? You took the gate away from all 11,000 of them are cheaters and crooks. 18,000 you took away food cards from. You say they are cheaters. 18,000 cheaters, man. I do not believe a word that they tell us. This has to stop. We extended the social safety net, increasing assistance provided to those with disabilities. We increased old age pension and the minimum wage, not once but twice. We gave single mothers a baby grant for the first 12 months of the baby's life. That was not a handout, you know. That was a helping hand so that these women and their children could be better equipped to care for their infants. And those who do not understand the hardship of old age, the hardships of disabilities, the hardship of being a single mother, the P&M were the ones who condemned it and said we were doing something wrong. They said we were doing something wrong. I want to tell you tonight, if helping citizens of this country is wrong, I have no problem helping citizens of this country. I'll be wrong then. I'll be wrong. I make no apologies for trying to uplift the most vulnerable in our country. And if I have the chance to do it again, I will help the most vulnerable. The distribution of wealth in our country is something we must all stop and pay attention to. It is something that we as a nation cannot and must not accept as unfixable in our country. You know, the very media workers, some of them are in this room tonight, are underpaid and overworked. For companies who have sent home many of their co-workers after those co-workers have served them for many, many years. Because what? They no longer help the bottom line, the mighty dollar. I tell you, while we all understand that serious management team, any serious management team, has an obligation to all their shareholders, I put it forward that shareholders also have a responsibility to ensure the management and boards pay pay their employees a living wage and give them opportunities for growth. This is why I say we need a culture of retraining, reworking, retooling workers of TNT within a company's framework, which is what is needed today. I reject the culture of making decisions based strictly on the mighty dollar bottom line. That has zero focus on how it impacts the lives of citizens. I reject the idea that the only solution for Petrotrin is to shut down the refinery. I reject the concept put forward by the Prime Minister that it is the board and not the cabinet who decided to shut down Petrotrin. I reject the voices of the super elite who have come out in support of this move. I reject the idea of sending home thousands of workers because this will have a devastating effect on all of us. As leader of the opposition, I am declaring that Petrotrin is too important, with thousands of workers hanging in the balance, for the Rowley government to allow it to fail. I say to you again, while the company may be in desperate need of help, the ripple effect of shutting the company down will be tremendous, equal to the devastating effect this action will have on the economy. The harsh reality of the management skills of the government cannot and should not be trusted. I do not trust that the importation of gas and diesel will be managed to the point where we will not experience shortages at the pump. You just have to see how they manage the Inter-Island ferry to see the incompetence and absence of basic management skills. In April last year, the government bungled the Inter-Island service, one bad decision after another. By August, the Prime Minister admitted it was a crooked deal. In November, he promised the service would be fixed by Christmas 2017. That date has come and gone. In January, he said the Italian's passage would be here by April. Came sometime recently. Today, they said they had their first commercial sailing. We will await the reports. Can you imagine what would happen if we were waiting, just for the Italian's passage, for gas to be delivered under this kind of incompetent mismanagement? Can you believe it? All the cars will be parked up in your homes, at your homes, stationary, waiting for gas, like Godot, waiting for Godot, who never arrives. These are serious times. Serious decisions must be made with the understanding that these actions will impact all the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. We challenge government to put forward policies to save jobs and to create jobs. We challenge them to reopen the gate to ensure that citizens can have access to higher education. We challenge the government to create labor policies to work with the trade union movement to ensure that an honest day's work goes hand in hand with an honest day's pay, so that our middle class can move out of the demographic of the working poor. When the government works out how to get the medicine we need at our nation's hospitals right now, then maybe we can trust them to work out how they will import gas and diesel to the pump in a timely manner. I say without fear of contradiction that nothing I have seen or heard from the Prime Minister and his government gives me comfort or a sense of trust in what they say and what they're doing. I do not trust anything they say. Every year the minister comes to the population, he projects high revenues, and every year, by the time we get to the end of the year, what he actually receives is half of that. As someone told us earlier from the platform, on the deficit, I think it was about deficits every year, billions of dollars. In other words, he's bankrupting the state by spending more than he is earning. Listen to all of them. They say one thing and then what? Do something completely different. All the government cares about, how to get people to work longer hours, to work faster, how they could make you work harder, but then they've tried to find ways to pay you less. I support productivity, but I also support equal opportunity. Paying people a living wage which they deserve and ensuring the lives of all, not only the rich, are improved, all the lives of all. Rowley and his government has created an environment in this country where persons who cannot make ends meet are vilified. They boast about taking away the food cards I mentioned before. They call these people crooks. How disgusting can he be? They take out an ad in the newspaper. They say if you don't come in to renew that status, your card, food card, is automatically cancelled. Tell me something. These people on food cards, you think they could buy a newspaper? You think they even have sight of a newspaper? Even the most secure citizens can understand why people who need the social safety net are the ones who are not least likely to afford a newspaper. They just don't have access to a newspaper. What would it have taken the government to send out the persons who run these programs, go into communities and look for them? They are the most vulnerable. You want them to read a newspaper ad, you want them to come in somewhere and fill up a form, and when it doesn't happen, you knock them off the card. But then you say, what? They are crooks. They are cheaters, that's the word they use. If you apply for an ID card, what happens? Workers from the ABC go and they verify who you are and where you live. They talk to the people next door to make sure you say you are who you are. Would it be so difficult, would it have been, to do this for the people, those on the food cards, who need that food card the most? Would it be so difficult to check them out? Instead, they didn't fill their form, knocked them off. Out of the 18,000 food cards revoked, if one child tonight is going hungry because of that, then none should have been cancelled. If one child is hungry tonight because you cancelled their food card, none should have been cancelled until you did the reviews. And look, saying that you want to give an increase in the card, let's not fool ourselves. And when you work it out, it's like 50 to 55 cents per day. But you raise oil and you raise the fuel prices by $1. I'll remind you of something. Remember in July this year, the central bank did away with the 1 cent pieces. So if you are paying in cash for anything, if it is below 5 cents, you round down. If it is above 5 cents, you round up. So when you raise it to 1.97, if you go to pay with cash at the pumps, you are actually paying $1.97, $2. Actually paying $2 a liter. And it's still sounding like a little bit, $2, $5, sorry, $4.97. How good, that was in my time. When we were there, it was much, much lower. He's raised it to $4.97. If you go to pay with cash, you will have to pay $2 a liter. $5 a liter, what is wrong? I'm dreaming of when we get back into government, we'll be able to decrease these fuel prices. I have great ambitions. May not reach 2, but certainly not as much as they have it. So you pay $5 a liter. But he wants to give the impression he's raised it just by $1, okay? But you don't buy 1 liter. When you go to fill your tank, how many liters do you put in your tank? So you could end up spending $40 more to fill your tank. So let me just say something. When he raised that price of super gasoline last Monday, I was very surprised. I think many people were. Because it was just 2 years ago, he was laughing when he told us about how many times he raised the gas, and she joked, you remember? They ain't right yet, promising another increase, and now he has. Again, he hinted there would be an increase in diesel in the future. Super gas, without a doubt, is the most used gasoline by families, taxi drivers, middle and low-income citizens, public servants, including those who use their car to make a little money on the side. Super gasoline has gone up by 84% in the last 3 years under this PNM government. And they're trying to brainwash the country saying it is only a $1 increase. The facts are clear. If you are the owner of a Nissan Almera, before this PNM government, you paid about $110 to fill your tank. Since Monday, you'll be paying $205 to fill that very same tank. If you're a taxi driver working the Rima to Grandi route, using an Almera, you have to fill your tank every day. A driver now has to pay $41 more to fill his tank. That works out to be $1,148 every month. The removal of a gas subsidy has to go hand in hand with a revitalization of our public transport system. If we had a reliable bus service, public dependence on the subsidy will be reduced, the cost of fixing our nation's roads will reduce, traffic woes would be reduced. The minister is right about one thing. citizens of this country will not riot, but they will vote soon enough, and they will remember this lack of conscience and vision. Your time is running out. And when the time comes, and people cast their votes, the UNC will implement a phased reduction in corporation tax to 20% over 5 years, so to boost investments by small and medium manufacturers to create more jobs. Increased taxes cripple a nation, cripple innovation and growth. The non-energy sector needs all the support they can get. I shared in my budget statement on Friday our plans and our vision for a digital fourth industrial revolution economy, encouraging and empowering entrepreneurship with a policy of prosperity for emerging entrepreneurs in technology and manufacturing. We'll speak a bit more of that on another day. For the time being, I say our plan includes rebuilding the working and middle class and restoring the social safety net. But it also includes establishing ways for upward mobility of both. We will focus on creating opportunities for the middle class to not only expand, but also for those who are willing to take the risk of getting into business, risk of investing, and if they're willing to take that risk, we'll ensure that the tools are in place for them to grow out of the middle class and become the business owners and investors that may be their dream. It is my mission to help you to make those dreams a reality. If you're willing to do the work, the UNC is willing to show you the way. This is what our party is about. A new UNC is focused on you, and it is about you. Tonight I call on anyone who thinks that what is happening needs to be changed. I call upon you to join us. I am telling you now, it is a time now to put whatever differences aside and to step forward and support the United National Congress. Wherever you live, we are calling on you to step up, step forward and volunteer. Even if it is for only 1 hour a week. Your support on the ground, in the party groups, at the planning table, you are welcome at the table of decision making. We are going from street to street and door to door, and we want you to join us. From local to general elections, join the mission to remove this government out of office, so that united we can bring balance back to Trinidad and Tobago. From local to general elections, we will work together to vote the PNM out. We will rebuild the economy by lowering taxes. We will promote our young entrepreneurs. We'll make gate accessible once again. We will help the private sector to create jobs. We'll ensure that not a single child is left behind because of a lack of focus in the Children's Life Fund. We will ensure that the Couva Hospital is a free hospital. We will ensure that the rights of workers are heard and understood. We were born out of the struggle for equal rights and justice for all. We understand that performance beats old talk, anytime and every time. And we know that if you work hard for what you believe in, success will surely come. Stand up with us, volunteer to work with us. Call your councillor, your MP, your alderman, or you can always write to me at kamlapb1@gmail.com. And I tell you, 1 hour a week will take your party back into government, and then we can get Trinidad and Tobago working again. I am committed to our party's original vision, which has always been to create a better future for all, and we will continue to do so by investing in education and health, creating jobs, and most important, by restoring a safe and secure environment in your homes and on our streets and in our communities. Our party, the United National Congress, will embrace challenges that lie ahead by continuing our focus on people-centered development. Let us work together to return our beloved nation to greatness. As I was walking to Parliament on Monday, I saw an elderly man and his grandson holding a placard. And today I want to share the words of that placard with you. used by this elderly man and his ransom. And it said, "We will write with our fingers come 2020 or before." We will write with our fingers come 2020 before. So if you want to see a real turnaround in this country, turn your faces to the rising sun and let your shadows fall behind you. Are you ready? Are you ready? Great is our beloved Trinidad and Tobago. I am UNC and I am proud. Are you UNC? Are you proud? We are UNC and we are proud. God bless you and I thank you very much.
There is love, I'll be there. I'll reach out my hand to you. I'll have faith in all you do. Just call my name and I'll be there. And oh, I'll be there. things does come before blessings, but we have to be patient, yeah. Weeping and